This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena. And folks, here we are, December the 15th. We're just 10 days away from Christmas. And you know what? The gifts just keep on giving because I have one of the greatest gifts on the show today. On the show today. Yes, absolutely. We know her well. I'm most familiar with her from All the President's Men. And Dustin Hoffman was lucky enough to get that bit of time with her. Folks, I give you
Oh,
the lovely, the beautiful Penny Peyser. How do you do, Penny?
I'm very good. Thank you for having me on. And boy, I was the lucky one with Dustin Hoffman. That was my first movie, and well, it's hard to say he was lucky, but let's say he helped me. He guided me a lot, which was wonderful.
Yeah, but you're nicer looking than he is.
Oh, well, thank you, thank you.
I know he's flirting with you, so in that
Yeah.
scene.
That was the sex scene in the movie.
Yeah.
There's no other flirty scene in the movie.
No, no. Well, you know what? I had you on. It was, I believe, 5 years ago. We
Oh, I
were
can't
on.
believe it's that long ago. Holy moly.
It is funny. Last time I interviewed you, I did at the station. I'm still there, but with the pandemic and everything that was going on, the station just reopened. But
Mhm.
I had one of my other guests introduce me to Zoom, and I'm like, this is just kind of cool. I could just do this right at my apartment and then play the flash drive right at the station.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I can just book these whenever I'm ready. Huh?
Yeah, well, that gives you a lot of flexibility.
It gives me lots of flexibility. So how have you been? How are you dealing with the pandemic?
Well, it's been a lot of ups and downs like everybody. I think it was easier on my husband and I just because we're older and
You're only 39.
right, well, yeah. 39-year-old piece of cake.
Yes.
Yeah, well, actually, I mean, on a sadder note, my mom died of COVID in
I'm s-
2020.
I'm
And
sorry to hear that.
yeah, so that was, kind of shocking. She lived in New York, and so I couldn't, none of my siblings could be with her. It was just one that was, I mean, thousands and thousands of people passed away without their loved ones around them. And, you know, I mean, we had her funeral on Zoom, her burial on Zoom. I mean, very, very bizarre stuff. But 9 days after she passed, my first grandson was born. So it was a lot of, season of joy and sorrow. But yeah, it's been a very profound period, certainly, uh, and just fascinating to say the least. I mean, but we consider ourselves very lucky. I mean, it really didn't, we didn't get ill. We've been vaccinated. We did all the stuff, but we don't live in a home where 10 people live. I mean, the folks who, have to live with a lot of people because of circumstances, it's really tough. Um, so I really, we were very, very fortunate, very, very, well, we're just blessed. We just had it very easy compared to a lot of folks.
You know what?
How did you do, by the way?
You know
How'd you?
what? It's just me and my kitty here. Um, Kitty's hid because anytime he sees me on here, a lot of my guests love it when I get my cat on here. I should put my phone in flight mode in case I start getting called from everybody. But no, actually, for me, it's been nonstop because when I'm not doing this, I work as a cleaner.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was an essential worker through this whole
Oh my, oh, yes.
But I work the back shift, like I work at nights.
Well,
So I'm
safer.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's impossible to clean during the day. there's people all over the place, and
Yeah, as soon as you
know,
clean something, it gets dirty.
yeah. So that's what I've been doing for cash, and then I do this because I enjoy it, and
Mhm.
yeah. But I've been busy through the whole pandemic, and I have to be busy because my cat won't get a job.
Oh, yeah, we've got 2 cats and they're layabouts too. They will not work. And we couldn't train them well enough to be in the Moscow cat circus. So, which you should see sometime. If you ever have the chance, you can probably see it online, I'm sure. But yeah, my cats, same thing.
Yeah. Mine, though, my cat likes to wake me up when I'm trying to sleep.
Of course.
Mine likes to get up, and I can always feel the thud on my bed, and he'll walk around to my backside, and then he'll notice I'm not facing that way. So he goes, jumps over my shins, and then walks right up and sits there and gawks in my face. And I open my eyes, I'm like, Kitty, just because you're up doesn't mean it's time for me to get up.
Well, good luck with that. Good luck with that.
So yeah, my cat's a rescue. So
Yeah, so are
love
ours.
love having him around. But I've
How many years have you had him?
huh?
How many years have you had him?
You know what? He used to be owned by my folks. You see, my folks are both terminally ill.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
Dad
sorry.
has had ALS for the past 7 years,
Oh, that's so tough.
and mom's got Parkinson's.
Oh,
So my younger brother does a lot of the looking after them, and but all the pets that we've had have been rescues. My parents used to own an Australian Shepherd. It passed
mhm,
away, I think, in 2020,
mhm.
but they owned an Australian Shepherd that was a rescue. And but it used to be they had the Australian Shepherd and they had the cat as well. But what happened was see, I worked in our family's spring water plant
Ooh, mhm.
for 19 years. We had it was a business started by my grandfather, and um, it was uh, it was real spring water. We had 4 streams, and but
Nice.
when my father got stricken with his illness, it got really bad. He had to sell the business.
Mhm.
So that's when I took up getting a cleaning job.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, at the time, the house I grew up in, I lived in for 47 and a half years.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so we had to sell that house because they moved into my grandparents' old house because there's less
Wow.
stairs, and my younger brother fixed the childhood home up for sale, and
Mhm.
my cat and I were the last 2 to move out. I was there until it sold, so I moved into this little apartment here, and but in terms of the reason I bring that up is because we had the Australian Shepherd and we had the cat. And the reason I've still got the cat is because when my folks moved into my grandparents' place, my dad said, "We're going to leave the cat with you so you have some company."
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
But it's also because, well, I'm more a cat person than a dog person.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So, and speaking of rescues, my brother and his wife, they used to own 2 ferrets, and those were rescues.
Whoa, rescue ferrets.
And
That's your everyday pet.
anything they needed to find, they found under their bed.
Uh-huh.
I watched those 2 buggers drag my sister-in-law's hair dryer down the hall and under the bed.
Wow. There's a YouTube video
Yep,
or a TikTok.
those creatures do not stop. So Anyway, out of the bunch, my cat's the only one still alive, but keeping me company. So,
Nice.
but nonetheless, that's my backstory. But I'm still doing this, and I love doing this. And
Good.
yep. So that's what I've been doing during the pandemic. And look what I got.
Oh,
Nice
familiar
little,
faces.
yeah, it's got the disc and it's got
Mhm.
booklet in there.
Is that one with commentary by the filmmakers?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, Alan J. Is it Pacula or Pacula?
Pakula.
Pacula. Alan
Mhm.
J. Pacula, unfortunately, he went suddenly, and
Oh, I know. Terrible accident.
like he did Kloop before this.
Mhm.
What were your memories of him? Like what was a lasting memory he left on you?
Well, first of all, not only was it my first film, and I'm sure I told you some of these stories
Mm-hmm.
because they haven't changed since we talked last, since they're in the deep past. So pardon me if I'm, repeating. Um, well, first of all, I'd say his kindness, because I was green. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I just, I didn't, I felt like, I felt, somewhat confident in my acting. I was doing a lead in an off-Broadway show at the time, a very well-known play by Lanford Wilson called Hot Ale Baltimore. And I had one day off, and they actually flew me down. This would never happen today, ever, because as you know, it was a very small role. They flew me down to Washington for the audition, and I auditioned with Dustin. Now, this would not happen today. This would just not happen. They would be, the casting director might call you in, you'd put an audition on tape. Well, if it was happening today, you would do the tape by yourself in your
Mm-hmm.
living room, which is what all auditions are these days, really. And they would have looked at tapes and they would have selected somebody. But they never would have spent money flying someone down from New York to DC, someone who had never done a film, no film credits, except commercials and, stage. And and I auditioned with Dustin and Alan in a, big Winnebago. And it was just us. And that's never going to happen today. And Alan had the script was very minimal. It was just like, I was playing one of Howard Hunt's secretaries. I think my character's name was Sharon Lyons, the names they make up anyway. And the script was very dry. It was, did you know Howard Hunt? Yes, I worked for Howard Hunt. What was he like? He was a nice guy. So Alan said, just, improvise it, which is what he said the day we shot as well. But anyway, so Dustin and I, fortunately, a lot of actors, even good actors, are not comfortable improvising. Fortunately, I was. My first professional job was with an improv group called The Proposition, which ran for a show for many years in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Anywho, so I was so nervous, but I was able to use my nerves to feed into the situation, because, I was nervous just meeting them, and my character was nervous. So that's what you do as an actor. You take what's going on and you try to service it with the material. Anyway, so Alan was just very kind and to do, help an actress like that. And I think that was just his nature. I think, he was just, very easygoing, obviously, he was like that on the set, very, very easy, very relaxed, not a yeller, that's always when you get someone, a director who's that doesn't help anybody, but
No.
especially when you're a first timer. But anyway, he was just lovely guy.
Well, you were green because you were wearing green.
Yes, I was. That was my own dress. That was my own little $25 dress that I got somewhere, maybe Bloomingdale's. I don't know. I mean, they had wardrobe, but they ended up having me wear my own dress. Who knows why?
So you say it was improvised, so the flirtatious nature of the scene, that was not in the script, huh?
No, totally not.
Okay.
Completely improvised, which is what's so fun looking back on it in hindsight, especially as that was my first film. And as I went on and had a lot of experiences to understand, my first experience was, it just taught me so much. And it was just so valuable. And to be with people who would encourage you to play. And the fact that I could play with one of my acting idols, I mean, that was, when you get to do your first film with the only men you've ever cut out pictures of, it's kind of special, kind of crazy, kind of nerve-wracking. And I will admit, Dustin was playing footsie with me under the table.
Oh.
Just to help the scene, you understand. Yeah, he kicked off my shoe anyway, and he said, "Look, Alan, look at our subtext." Alan looked under the table and laughed. But yeah, and Alan would whisper in each one of our ears, saying something to the other about how he wanted us to color it, or like he'd say to me, well, I be a little suspicious, of him because he's a reporter, but don't be afraid to flirt with him or let that energy get. Anyway, whatever he said, it just worked. It just worked beautifully, and it was just great to fall into that. And amazing first experience. Really,
Well,
really.
I find it interesting because 5 years prior, of course, he did Clute, and both of them were similar in terms of their look and feel,
And same music, same composer for the score, David Shire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I love the dark scenes, and I know you were just in that scene, but we lost Hal Holbrook not too
Oh
long
yeah,
ago.
I got to meet him several times, which was nice. Many years after that, but
How
yeah.
great was he as Deep Throat,
Oh, just fantastic.
I number one, speaking of which, like I mentioned in Clute, there was these scenes where it's very dark and very ominous, very quiet, and very creepy. But there's moments in where Robert Redford goes to meet Deep Throat in the parking garage, and there was one point where he feels like he's being followed, and the music just
Oh
kind of
yeah.
stops,
Oh yeah.
and I
Very
love
effective.
the paranoia levels of paranoia in this film was just phenomenal,
Oh
but
yeah, it was very suspenseful.
yep. But I mean, I loved how Hal Holbrook was lit, He was always
Just
very,
like, yeah.
yeah. And I love their back and forth, even whenever, you might occasionally hear a car in the parking garage, and everything was just like, are we being watched? I love that level of suspense of this movie.
Oh yeah. It had so many, no, it was just a great movie. And I'm just so grateful and proud that I happened to be in it,
Yeah. Yeah. The scenes, for example, with Jane Alexander,
Mm,
where she is, I
so
loved it when
paranoid.
not only is she paranoid, I loved watching Dustin Hoffman try to get information out of her, and he's slowly making it happen, but yeah. And I loved how they would do stuff, like how they would say where they would run into her at breakfast, and they would say, you know, this is so and so. We know this is so and so. You know, and how they would kind of try to trick the information out of her.
Right.
Very clever.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But even going beyond that, Jason Robards,
Oh, yeah.
great in the movie, but even, you know, where they're standing out on the lawn because they don't want to risk being in there just in case the phones are tapped,
Mhm.
you know, and Robards, of course, very commanding. You had a great cast in this movie.
Oh, my God. And Jack Warden, who I did
Yep.
a series with in the 80s.
Hmm.
So a lot of people I crossed paths with after the fact.
Was Jack Warden crazy like a fox?
He was great. That was, that was another great job. It just was a lot of fun. I wish it had run longer. It was one of those aggravating things where we initially were programmed right after Murder, She Wrote, which was perfect programming because two older stars,
Hmm.
Angela, I mean, it was, and we did really well in that time slot. And for some reason, and the network moved us at least twice. They moved us opposite Falcon Crest, which was like, why don't you just keep us where we are? And then they moved us, and it was almost like someone at the network just didn't want the series to go. We have no idea, but it was so aggravating. And the audience finally couldn't find us. You move on the old days of network television. I mean, you move around too much and they're like, well, where's that show? Oh, well, and they move on. And so we only ran, less than 2 years. And it was really a drag because that show was I thought it was like a pair of old, this doesn't sound very exciting, but like a pair of old bedroom slippers. Really comfortable. You really like to have them on.
Hmm.
And, to be following Murder, She Wrote was just perfect. And yeah, God knows what that was about. But anyway, being with Jack was great. I mean, he was a great actor, and it was just, the more great actors you can be around, the better it is for you. I mean, the more they raise your game up, and yeah, it's just a good thing. I recommend it.
I get a big kick out of watching Jack Warden in his small cameo in The Great Muppet Caper because he's working for a newspaper in that one too.
Oh, wow. You know what? I don't think I saw The Great Muppet Caper.
He's the one that sends Kermit and Fozzie off on their big adventure to Lady Holiday, who's of course played by Diana Riggs,
Oh, wow. Okay.
He points out, you two don't look anything alike because they're supposed to be twins,
Right. Yeah.
Kermit and Fozzie. So, yeah, so when I see Great Muppet Caper, it's like, Jack went from Robert Redford and Dustin Hoffman to dealing with these two.
Yeah. And he was in all those Warren Beatty movies too.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And let's not forget Martin Balsam was in this as well, who was in
Oh, yeah.
Psycho.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, it was a great cast. I mean, just the best people.
Yep. And I always remember that shot in the library.
Oh, yeah. And the pull-up shot.
Oh my goodness, what a great shot,
Oh, yeah.
So
Beautiful.
it's like it's very ominous shot because it's like makes them look very, very vulnerable because it just when it keeps panning back, it's like they're just these two small factions within this great big
Yeah.
I love that. So yeah, this movie had a lot going for it, and of course, this was the year before Star Wars when things.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, Jaws had started the blockbuster, but
Oh, yeah.
still.
That was like the first, well, not the first, but that was, the start of the big summer tent pole movie,
Hmm. So
Yeah.
this was in like that year, right in between, So, and Dustin Hoffman, I gotta say, not only does he have a lot of diversity, but in terms of his roles, but like, I mean, The Graduate, Midnight Cowboy, Straw Dogs, the same year he did this, he did Marathon Man, you know,
And he did
Lenny.
Lenny right before that.
Lenny, you know, I mean, the depth of this guy, the stretch in terms of his the types of roles he can play. I always love seeing Dustin Hoffman, you know. Um, I think he's up there in his age. I think he's 39 now or something.
That's right.
But yeah, and of course Robert Redford being in
Yeah,
this.
they're the same age, I believe.
Yeah,
Both born in 37.
yeah, 37 and both 39 years old.
A miracle.
Miracle. But no, they were perfectly cast in this movie. What a great chemistry they had.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recall the last time you seen either one of them?
Oh, yes. Well, Robert Redford, Bob, I like to call him.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, in the scheme of things, relatively recently, when you consider the films 45 years ago, my husband, who worked in radio for many years, also he MCs this. How do I describe it? The speakers series that's out here in LA. It's called the Distinguished Speakers Series, and it's like a big live thing that they have a season every year, and they have everybody. I mean, they just have everybody. I mean, we've met some incredible people. I mean, I'm just saying things off the top of my head. I mean, everyone from Colin Powell to Betty White to Robert Redford. And so Redford, now this is how many years ago now? Ooh. Okay, I think this is 2012.
Okay.
Doug, my husband, was hosting, and he had 3 nights with Redford. And so of course I went because I hadn't seen Bob since 1976.
Oh wow.
So anyway, so obviously, you know, someone must have, you know, and I knew that he would remember me once I introduced myself. Because I mean, I have a framed letter on my wall from him that I got the week the movie opened.
Oh nice.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's in my office. I just, you know, it arrived at my little apartment in New York the week the movie opened back in the 70s, and just said, enjoyed your work so much on the roof of the Kennedy Center, and I'm sorry I didn't get to work with you. And I mean, it's like, what? You know, I mean, he's the kind of producer, he must have written, I mean, I was a day player and he wrote me a letter. He must have written everyone who did anything on that movie. It was just so kind, you know, on that nice Robert Redford letterhead, you know, it's like, oh, no way, I'm not framing that. Anywho, so I knew, you know, he would remember me, but somebody must have told him. He said, oh, you know, your host, the guy who's going to be interviewing you and on stage is married to Penny Peyser, who was in all, you know, so I'm sure someone told him that, because when we were at this pre-reception, you know, before curtain, you know, I was kind of hanging back, you know, when he walked into the room, there were a lot of people around him, and I was hanging back because I knew I would see him in the dressing room with my husband. So they said, you know, he was like, it was this large room and he was kind of across the room. And of course, all eyes were on him. And they said, Bob, we gotta, you know, the show's gonna start in 15, so we should go down to your dressing room. And he goes, but first I have to say hello to Penny. And I was just like, and he walked across the room with his arms like this. And I just nearly started crying. I was just like, oh no. I was just like, I mean, it's Robert Redford. How many decades later, and he's coming over to give me a hug. I'm like, oh. Anyway, he's like, how are you? You look great. I was like, so do you. I didn't expect that. I expected him to be nice, and I expected him, but to walk across the room and have everybody go like this, who's he going to say hello to? Anyway, that was a great moment.
That is wonderful. You know, I remember you had mentioned that in the previous interview, but I don't recall the circumstances surrounding it, because I didn't know I don't recall you mentioned your husband was in radio.
Oh, yeah, for 25 years, he had a very popular overnight show here in Los
Oh,
Angeles. And
nice.
then he did morning drive on this is all on KABC.
Mm-hmm.
And he did morning drive for a number of years, and he went back to overnights. That was actually a nationally syndicated show. And then he went back to morning drive again. And then he retired 3 years ago from his
Which
radio gig.
which did he like doing, the mornings or the overnights?
Overnights.
Over,
I
you
mean,
know,
the mornings paid a lot better, but a morning show, talk radio, it's so much, it's all formatics. You've
mhm.
got weather, you got news, you got traffic, and then he'd have a guest on and he got a 10-minute segment. And then, either unless you're asking them to stay for another segment, you're out and you can't get into anything. But when he was doing overnights, I mean, first of all, your bosses aren't really listening because they're sleeping. So you pretty much have carte blanche. And Doug, he got to do whatever he wanted. He's a big jazz lover. He's a historian. So he would bring, and he kept a piano in his studio. And Friday nights, he would have a jazz musician in and they'd do something live. I mean,
Oh,
it was
nice.
just a ton of fun. And he just had terrific people, all the jazz guys in LA. And we had done a jazz documentary, which I don't remember if I mentioned to you or not, that came out in 2008. It was called Trying to Get Good, the Jazz Odyssey of Jack Sheldon. Jack Sheldon was a local trumpet player who knew everybody in the book. So we had Clint Eastwood and Billy Crystal and all kinds of celebrities in our documentary, because our subject was such a character and so well known. But anyway, so that's how we got to know a lot of musicians, and Doug had them all on his show. And then he would have historians and authors. And if he wanted to talk about one topic for an hour, he could. I mean, aside from commercial breaks, he could do whatever he wanted. So he adored that.
Did you go in and sing?
I did sing. I wrote some Christmas carols. I can't remember which year this was. This was when he was doing morning drive, actually. I got a few friends together and we called ourselves the ACLU Singers.
Okay.
And I rewrote Christmas carols with AC, taking all the religion out of it and all the, silent night, any old night. Anyway, not a cross in our sights. Anyway, I won't go on. But anyway, I had a whole bunch of them. And yeah. And I think I might have sung one other time, but I can't. Oh, I definitely sang on his overnight show. But anyway, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, at nights too, you don't have the commotion of the day,
Very
even with
intimate.
even with cleaning, people often say, isn't it hard working the back shift? And I'm like, no, because when we have a snowy day, while everybody else is rushing to get their morning coffee to go to work, I'm going to go home, go under the covers with my cat, and I'm going to sleep. I find that nights, it's just, I could stick my headphones in, I could listen to something and just do my thing, and for the most part not be bothered.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love the idea of that as well. So
How many hours is your shift, may I ask?
usually 8 hours.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. I Cleaning was not something I wanted to do. It's just after what had happened is after my father sold the water plant,
Sure.
I could have been on unemployment for a year. But what had happened was one of my guests, Canadian actors, invited me to assist her at a horror film convention in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd never traveled before. So it was my first time on a plane, all that stuff.
Oh my gosh, no, wait, where do you live?
I live in New Brunswick, Canada.
New Brunswick. Okay.
Yep.
I didn't know what
See, I'm
town.
4 hours ahead of you. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I knew you did tell me that. So how old were you when you were first on a plane?
That was 2017. I'm 49 now. So
That's amazing.
45. Yeah, I always got homesick if I ever left Fredericton, and
Uh-huh.
but when an actress, like I remember she was on my show for a second time, and we just got talking about travel because she had just moved back to Canada after living in Los Angeles for so many years, because she
Mhm.
always wanted to move back, and we got talking about travel, and she asked what was stopping me. So she invited me to this horror film convention, and I couldn't say no to that.
No.
And I was petrified at the thought of
Oh,
going until I got there. And I don't know why it is. I got homesick going to nearby cities. I went to Toronto and didn't want to come home. And I've gone every year since, except for 2020. I don't know why. I must have been busy that year. I didn't get to Toronto that year.
well, pandemic too.
Yeah. But I've gone every year since. I've just got back there from there early November. So I had
Travel is good.
yeah.
It expands your world. I urge you to get out there again. Go anywhere. Just,
I'm the only one
oh,
in my family who's ever been in a plane.
is that right?
Yep.
That is fascinating. So you come from a family of where travel was not kind of a part of life.
Yeah, like when we're young, when I was young, my brothers and I, we used to go camping every summer when my dad got
Mhm.
a couple of weeks off. But we go to either St. John or Moncton, which are nearby cities, but we never, like, none of us ever been in a plane. And but I figured I wasn't going to get an offer like that again. And Lisa Langlois was the actress that invited
Mhm.
me to Toronto, and she and
What's her
I
last name? Langwall?
Langlois.
Langlois.
Yeah. Yep. She was in a movie. I knew her from a movie called Class of 1984, which was an
Mhm.
early film with Michael J. Fox. Roddy McDowell's in it.
Mhm. Oh yeah, I
And
worked with Rowdy McDowell
oh yeah. Well,
on a little scene television show called, oh my God, this is very obscure. Even you won't know it. It's called Sweepstakes. And I don't know how many episodes they filmed. Roddy McDowell and Elizabeth Taylor starred in it, but the way the show worked, the format was, I mean, no one ever worked. Well, when I say I worked with him, I met him. I was on his show, but we didn't have any scenes together because the two of them were like cloistered, and they'd be these millionaires who somehow would decide to bestow a small fortune on somebody. So I was some professional tennis player from Poland. Don't ask me why this series didn't last very long. But anyway, that was my that was my experience with him. That was very short lived.
well, like I said, she and I are still friends to this day. And
Wonderful.
every time I go to Toronto, I hook up with her. In fact, I
Yes.
just sent her a Christmas gift in the mail, so we do that
Nice.
too. Yeah,
Wonderful.
she sent my cat a Christmas stocking with a little Santa hat. My cat said that's the gift that does not keep giving. My cat didn't want to wear that.
Oh,
So it changed my life.
well, good. I
Yep.
mean,
And
that's
flying didn't
wonderful.
bother me. It was like a bus in the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad flying didn't bother you. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, may you go other places. I hope you go somewhere else.
yeah, well, I look forward to it, and it's
So
quite
you've
the
never been in
adventure.
the States? Never been in the States? Wow.
I I have an actress friend in California
Uh-huh.
who said if I'm ever in California, she said she has a guest house I can stay in.
How
from there.
wonderful.
And I'm like, how cool is that? That's not an offer I always get. I don't know when I'll get to the States. I'm just getting comfortable going to Toronto, so it's good. Baby steps.
Yeah.
But I've had people ask
Well,
me if
take
I,
her up on it. Take her up on it.
yeah,
Really?
yeah. Well, she has a guest house where people stay
Well,
in the
that's
guest
that's
house and stuff.
ideal. That's ideal.
Yep. So anyway, another one of these guests I've had that I'm still in touch with, and so I've been asked if I was going to attend any of the cons in the States, and I say just give it time. Give it time. But I'm glad, because I would have never done it had Lisa not invited me. I wasn't going to turn that down,
No,
Yeah.
no, of course not. You never want to turn down a life expanding experience if you
Yeah.
can help it. I mean, you know,
Yep. So she's awesome, and I have a lot of fun of it. Have you ever done any of the cons before, or
no,
no?
hadn't done those. I've done a lot of film festivals with our documentaries, but
Hmm.
I think I spoke to you about our movies last time too. Anyway, um, yeah, but I haven't done that series. No.
Yeah, those are a lot of fun. I'll tell you that. People dressing up and stuff. I don't dress up. I got scary enough costume.
Yeah.
But people put a lot of work into that. So
Oh yeah.
yeah. But you touched on Robert Redford. When's the last time you saw Dustin Hoffman?
Oh, 76. I
76?
yeah, no, I haven't seen him. I've not seen him at all. Um,
Well, unlike your hair, which your hair looks gorgeous, his
oh,
hair
thanks.
his hair has gotten a little lighter.
Well, listen, I'm a girl and I'm not ashamed to say I color my hair.
Oh no, you don't. I don't buy that. Don't give me that. Give me that.
Anyway,
Who you
my
think
hair
you're?
wouldn't be, if I had, it's interesting, little actress trivia, but actress hair care thing. I mean, when you get old, when one gets older as an actress, having gray hair is it's not a bad thing. In fact, it's a good thing. And in fact, I mean, I have friends who have beautiful gray hair. I mean, and now if my hair was like that, but it's not. I mean, I have gray, but I don't have a ton of gray. This is just for your female listeners who care about this stuff. So I can't, at this point in my life, it would not, it just wouldn't look good. So I don't do it. Someday, someday. But yeah, Dustin's hair has gone gray.
Yeah, he needs some hair coloring.
But he has but he's got beautiful hair. That man has very thick
Yeah.
hair. You can tell when you see it on screen. I mean, he has a lot of hair for an 80-something-year-old person.
Yes. Yes.
So
Come on, you're not fooling anybody. I know that's your natural hair.
sure, that's right. And I don't need these glasses either.
No, you don't. Not at all.
No, not if I don't want to see things.
Although, if you put those glasses on and since they're black rim, you could put a little piece of tape in the middle and you could be the Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah, that's right. Or a raccoon. Yeah, it could be that too.
Yeah. No, I remember you fondly last time I interviewed you. I know we talked about your YouTube channel,
Mhm.
Yeah. I haven't looked in on that in a while. You still doing that?
Well, I actually I stopped doing the YouTube thing. I've stuck my toe into TikTok, so you can
TikTok.
find Lady Penelope on TikTok. I have not done a lot of them, but I'm actually getting ready to shoot a bunch more. And I'm, got some on Instagram. So yeah, I'm still doing my sonnet thing. Yeah.
I'm still getting I just got used to Instagram. Um I actually got Instagram at the beginning of this year, and I didn't do anything on it.
Yeah, well, that's okay. Well, I'll look for your account. I'll follow you.
Yeah,
What do you call what's your handle on Instagram?
I'll look it up.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is my handle on Instagram?
Yeah, mine is just at Pen Peyser, but on TikTok, I'm real Lady Penelope, real _ Lady Penelope, because there was some other Lady Penelope, so I had to do that.
Mine got my name, Greg Gilbert, and above it, Python Hyena. So I don't know, but
Okay, I'll look you up. I'll look you up.
yeah, I actually made my first connection with somebody in terms of a guest on Instagram, because so one person I got coming on this evening, I had her on 6 years ago.
Oh,
And we've talked on Facebook before, but last time I sent her a message to have her come on for an anniversary of a film, the message wasn't getting through to her.
Are your friends on Facebook?
No, this is a page she has. So
page she has. I find with messages on Facebook, some people use that like email. I almost never. I'm on Facebook less and less, because how much time how many platforms can you be on? But yeah, sometimes people will say, I sent you a message, and I'm like, I'm sorry, you have my email address, I'll see that, but I said, I just don't look there for a message. Whereas some people, they have just different habits. It could just be that.
well,
she just hasn't seen it.
Well, the check mark was not filled in, so I don't know what happened. So, but I commented on a thread she did online, and she's more than happy to come back on the show. But she looked for the message. She came back and she said, "I don't see the message." So
who knows?
I messaged her on Instagram, and so far she's the only one that's ever sent me a message from Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I got her due up tonight, and yeah, it's Vanessa Angel. So I got her up on tonight, and she's been on before. So yeah, but nonetheless, yeah, I'm just kind of getting used to the stuff myself. So
I know, and unfortunately, I mean, it seems to be so critical for actors. I mean, so many times my agent complains to me that, a lot of times when they're making an appointment, they'll say, oh, how many followers does she have on pick a platform, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. And it really makes a difference in who they hire, which is tough. I mean, I don't have a lot of followers.
Oh, wow.
But I mean, if they have two actors who are just as, it could be either one of them, they're both qualified, they're both real good. The one who has the higher number of followers is the one who's going to get hired.
You know what? I had a film director turn me down for an interview this year because he said my YouTube channel, like, he went through the last year and he said, you only have so many views and this and that. And it's like, number one, it's nice to get hits and views and likes, but I don't do it for that. I do it because I enjoy it.
Right.
And I'm certainly getting my name out there, but it's like, he said that he had just did a podcast with some people at a New York station. I'm like, look, I'm not in a fancy big station. As if that's what you're looking for, then I guess I'm not your fit. But he was, before I started doing the cons, he was at one of those horror cons, and I'm like, he will never get my business, because it's like I wasn't in a big enough station for his liking.
Yeah.
it's like be thankful somebody is saying, "Hey, I remember you. Let's
Mhm.
celebrate your work," you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I had an Australian filmmaker on earlier this year who reached out to me and asked if I interview Aussie filmmakers.
Mhm.
I never heard of this guy, never seen a single thing he's done. I didn't say, "No, I never heard of you." I said, "Yes, I interview with Aussie filmmakers. Let's do an
Sure.
interview." I had him on. We did a very lengthy interview, and he had a lot of strange titles in his filmography. I just asked him questions, and
Sure.
yeah, I don't turn people down because of what their status are, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You never know. You never know.
yeah.
I mean, but aside, I think that's a good policy. And plus, you learn, you meet someone new, you learn about someone different, and then who knows? So they could be the next big thing.
Well,
I mean,
he had fun. He said to me, he goes, "We probably won't get any more than maybe half hour." We ended up talking for 2.5 hours,
wow.
and he just kind of chuckled at that. And a lot of it was just like, not just his films. I was asking about the wildlife in Australia and this and that, you know, and
Sure.
it just kind of went from there.
Mhm.
And
Well, it's nice. It's especially since you haven't traveled much. You talk to someone from clear around the world. I mean, it's pretty great.
yeah, so I didn't turn him down. I love having the platform. If somebody reaches out to me, I'm like, I consider that an honor. They're asking
Sure.
me, you know?
Yeah, of course.
Yep. So I'm sorry I wasn't a big enough station or whatnot for that
Ah,
director, but
you don't need him.
I don't need him. That's right. But I think I'm doing all right, you know?
Yeah, of course you are.
My cat's fed, so
Yes.
but the TikTok videos are not TikTok, well, that now TikTok, but YouTube, I just remember watching your I watched a number of your YouTube, and I love that where you're going around on the carousel, you
Oh,
know, and
yeah.
you're
Uh-huh.
How did you come up with that character?
Well, I've been writing sonnets for a long time. I'm
Mhm.
approaching 500 sonnets.
Uh-huh.
I have I really want to get my book published. It's kind of a hard sell, so I haven't done that yet, but I'll let you know when I do. Um, so I started doing them, and then I started performing them at poetry readings and stuff. And then um, one, a very kind publisher who turned me down gave me a suggestion. He said, "Well, you're an actress, and these are kind of performable pieces. Why don't you? And you're a filmmaker. Why don't you take everything you know and I decided I'd do an Elizabethan costume, and I just came up with the name Lady Penelope. I mean, Elizabethan because they're Shakespearean sonnets, but it's modern material. And called it Sonnets from Suburbia. And anyway, yeah, that's how Lady Penelope came into being. So, and I'm trying to get one act, one person show together with my material. And so it's just, no use sitting around. You got to
I
keep
like him.
creating your own stuff.
Now, where your husband used to be in radio, does he assist you in any of this?
Sometimes he is my camera person. A
Uh-huh.
lot of times I shoot it by myself.
Okay.
Because everything's got a remote control, or it's just, and I know how to edit. Uh, yeah, so he assists me when I need him. Sometimes I get a camera person. I mean, for all of my intro and outro stuff on my videos, I had a cinematographer. I had someone working with me. My husband's not a photographer, but he can, if I tell him he's not good with buttons, but if I tell him where to stand and what the frame is, we don't have too many arguments about it. So it's good.
Yeah, I love the carousel moment because you got like your hand out,
Yes.
you know,
Uh-huh.
and you're just you're getting ready to do. I loved how you put that together. So I
Oh,
did
thank
watch
you.
some of those. Yeah. Yep. And of course, I remember this is one thing I do remember I commented on with you, because I'm involved with a charity involved with it. I always loved, I think you did a couple of videos where you took a pie in the face, and I always enjoy that.
Oh, that was from Amazing Stories in 1985. Yeah.
Yeah,
I worked with Griffin Dunn was in that. You know who Griffin Dunn
yeah,
is?
American Werewolf in London and After Hours.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember you opened up a refrigerator, and
That's
the
right.
refrigerator wasn't responding well to you.
Yes, I got at least 2 pies, 3 pies. Oh, let me see. I know I got at least 3 pies in the face on that show. Yeah.
You were in the restaurant scene in one of them too.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it's hard to take holding still and knowing the prop guys, going to throw the pie at your face and you have to act like it's a surprise. Oh, that is really hard. I mean, imagine if I'm standing here and you're just looking at me and I got a pie and you got to act like you don't see it coming. Oh my God. It's terrible.
I'm involved with a charity challenge that involves a pie in the face. So
Oh, really? What's the charity?
it's for suicide and depression awareness. After
Uh-huh.
Robin Williams left us, when the Ice Bucket
Oh,
Challenge
yes.
was successful for ALS, which my dad unfortunately has,
Sure, I know. Yeah.
one came out for suicide and depression called the Doubtfire Face Challenge. And it involves you taking a pie in the face and you nominate 3 people. And I've had some of my interview guests do it. In fact, Lisa did one.
Oh, uh-huh.
Yep.
How long ago did your charity start?
I think it was just after. I didn't start it. Somebody
Oh,
else started it. I just took it and ran because I love that kind of humor, and I think it's a lot more
sure.
fun than ice water,
Yeah.
But
I got to say, I didn't do that. I just made a donation.
well, it's funny.
I sent money.
I'd interviewed Sandy Johnson, who was in the original Halloween, and her husband, and she agreed to do the challenge, and her husband was dressed up as Michael Myers, and he put the pie in her face. But she nominated a couple of people from that movie, plus Felissa Rose, who was in Sleepaway Camp. I
Mhm.
met Felissa Rose at just my last trip in Toronto at Frightmare in the Falls. I
Mhm.
showed her the Doubtfire challenge Sandy did, and she just flipped and goes, "I'm gonna do this," you know. And she said not only she's gonna do it, she's gonna do it with 3 of her nominees, and they were all from horror films. So I'm
Mhm.
like, I think that's pretty awesome. So yeah, I thought it was just amazing. The Ice Bucket Challenge did so well, and I was like, wouldn't it be amazing if every year something like that come out for a charity?
Mhm.
You know what that would do. But you look online now, people are challenging themselves, challenging people to do stupid stuff like people eating Tide Pods and this. Like, stop.
Oh, that's very immature.
Yeah, yeah. So I've thrown this out to a few of my guests and had some luck, and it's a lot of fun. So I grew up with that kind of humor. So when
Mhm.
I see that kind of stuff, it's like old school for me. So I
Mhm.
had to bring that up because you've done it a couple times.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. It's been a little while, 1985. So it's been a little while.
And Griffin Dunn was not a walking meatloaf in that scene, like he
No,
was in American Werewolf in London.
no, no. Griffin's a great guy. I've stayed in touch with him.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think After Hours is one of the most underrated of Scorsese's work, and he was great in that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I want to reflect on a few of your other films before I let you go, because I know you did The In-Laws, which is
Mhm.
yeah, I didn't care for the remake of that.
Oh, are you kidding me? It was awful. Oh,
Yeah,
awful.
yeah. The remake was awful. You know.
No, and first of all, it bothered me so much they were doing it in the first place. I mean, that film is so loved, and I actually wrote an article when it came out. I'm trying to remember what year it was. for the LA Times, which they actually paid me for. And I just wrote about, it was called Shouldn't I Be Dead? I'm like, why are they doing a remake and I'm still alive? It's like, come on. So anyway.
Yeah, like Alan Arkin, Peter Falk. I mean,
Yeah.
How fun
Alan
was that
Arkin's a
shoot?
great guy. I mean, I've seen Alan a number of times since that. He actually came to my house. I probably told you this last time.
No, I don't recall the story.
Oh, he came to my house to do kind of an all-day improv seminar in my living room with a bunch of actors.
Okay.
Which was wonderful. And it was just, I hadn't seen him. Well, I had seen him. I can't remember when I saw him before that. I had. But anyway, so I spent a whole day with him in my house, which was just so much fun. He's a great teacher. I gathered about 10 actors, friends together, and we had a wonderful all-day class. And then, let's see, the last time I saw him, he got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame a year ago, or 2 years. It was before COVID, so it's got to be 2 years ago. And also a friend of mine was directing him in the Kaminsky Method, that show he did with on Netflix with Michael Douglas.
Okay.
Anyway, so a friend of mine was directing it and he said, hey, how would you like to come visit me on the set? And you can visit with Alan. And I said, sure. So I did. Anyway, he's a sweetheart. He really is.
He's not coloring his hair.
No, he is not. Neither is Michael Douglas. Michael Douglas.
Yeah. No, I wasn't a fan of the remake of that, and
it was profoundly not funny.
No, it wasn't. I had on my worst of the year list, so horrible.
Yeah.
But do you have any other films that you want to touch on back? Like, I know you were in The Frisco Kid.
The Frisco Kid.
We lost Gene Wilder, I think.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. I don't know. I couldn't believe it. Why could I not believe it? It's just that he seemed, in my age, I'm like, what? He was 83? That's ridiculous. He was a child. Yeah, Frisco Kid was a great experience. I'm trying to think.
This was one I haven't seen. I probably should. Gene Wilder and Harrison Ford. What an odd combination of that.
Oh yeah. Now, did you just say you have not seen that one?
I haven't seen that one.
Well,
no.
We should talk sometime after you see it. I play another bride. I shot that right after I was Gene's bride. I shot that right after the in-laws. I went, finished on the in-laws. The next day went to that set. So that was a great year. And they both came out in 79.
Yep.
But that was a movie that has had a tremendous afterlife all across the country at B'nai B'riths. Because this Jewish rabbi is the lead, Jewish cowboy. That's very unusual. And the movie didn't do great when it came out. It got mixed reviews. Partly because it would be funny and then it would turn violent. And so it was kind of jarring, and Robert Aldrich directed it, who, he's the director for Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, and what's the very male Dirty Dozen.
Dirty Dozen.
So he had he was a weird choice for that movie. And very interesting man. And Harrison Ford was in between Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back. So his star had written, he had just becoming a big star, and he was on his way to England as soon as to do the next one, as soon as that we wrapped. And he was great. I really, really enjoyed him. But yeah, it's an odd movie, but I suggest you see it. It's
yeah, I should. It's just one I haven't seen on there. Harrison Ford did Apocalypse Now that same year too. He appeared in that.
Yeah, and he had a very small part in that. I think he did that also as a favor to Francis Ford Coppola, because he was in The Conversation,
Mm-hmm.
This is all pre-Star Wars, of course. But anywho, yeah,
Yeah.
check
No.
it out sometime. And in fact, Doug and I got invited. Doug got invited to light a menorah at some Hanukkah celebration, and I came with him.
Uh-huh.
And people, and this is, what year was this? This is sometime in the 2000s. I don't remember what year this was. And people were like, "It's Rosalind Bender." That was my character's name. And I was like, geez, I don't think I can remember my character's name. They were like, and they go, "Oh my God, my father makes us watch that movie every year. Oh, we had a big screening at B'nai B'rith. So after the movie did its circuit of theaters and didn't do that well, it just got picked up by the Jewish community. It's hysterical. It really is. So I was suddenly, a huge celebrity at the menorah lighting. It was very funny. I really got a kick out of it, and I was shocked.
And you were also in Unfaithfully Yours, and I got to laugh
Oh, for 2
because
minutes, yeah.
Dudley Moore is in that, and I'm looking at that and I'm thinking 1984, same year he did Mickey and Maude. He was faithful in a lot of movies that year.
Yeah, and that wasn't so far after. I forget what year 10 came out. Do you remember what year 10?
1979. Speaking
Oh,
of that
okay.
year, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, that was fun. That was a very brief, obviously, very brief job, but
I had somebody, an actor on here who did a great Dudley Moore impression.
oh,
Yeah, yeah. Do you have any charities that you're involved with that you would like to promote on
I'm
here?
involved with AIDS Walk. I've been
Okay.
involved with AIDS Walk here since 1987 when it began.
Oh, wow.
So that's my local thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one I'm actively involved in. There are a bunch of charities that I enjoy donating to, but that's one that I raise money for. Yeah, that's kind of my big annual thing.
Mm-hmm. You all ready for Christmas?
No, are
No.
you?
I sent off some stuff, mailed
Yeah,
some stuff today, but I have no decorations up because I leave that up to Skittles, my cat, and
yeah.
he's busy studying for his exams. He wants to get his PhD in laziness.
I bet he'll get it like that. Yeah, we don't have any decorations up yet. I have, my kids and my grandkids and actually, I'm going to have another grandchild in April, which is very exciting. But yeah, we haven't decorated the house. My husband put lights on outside. We haven't gotten a tree or any of that stuff yet. Eventually, we'll do it pretty soon because I notice it's 10 days from now.
Yeah, I'm like Skittles head.
Are you going to get to see your family?
Yeah. You know what? I don't know whether it was the mayor here. Somebody in charge said at Thanksgiving, we're not allowed to gather. Yeah, well, our parents are terminally ill. So I asked them.
And you're vaccinated, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and they probably are, right?
They are, but I have two people in my family that aren't.
Oh, your brother and
But,
his wife?
mm-hmm.
Oh, that's too bad.
Well, it's their choice. But here's the thing. We all got together and nothing happened.
Yeah. Well, you were lucky.
Yeah. But when I'm gonna be frank. I probably would not have gotten vaccinated had not been for I got vaccinated to travel to Toronto. The reason why I say I probably wouldn't have is because I work at nights and I'm hardly around anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm my biggest conversation is either with my cat, my supervisor on the phone, or the drive-through lady in at Tim
Sure.
Hortons Coffee.
But you never know when you're going to go out and when you're going to see people. The thing is, it's not only about choice, individual choice, it's about keeping other people safe. Your parents are very vulnerable.
Yeah. Actually,
They
it's funny.
can't get COVID. Getting
Yeah.
COVID would be deadly.
Actually, it's funny. I got both shots and I wasn't bothered by either one. And it's funny because the second shot, I couldn't be bothered because I had to pick up a brand new car, or a brand new car that day because my old car stalled on a busy street
Mhm.
and couldn't the mechanic couldn't figure out what's wrong with it. So as soon as I got my second shot, I was like, I was off to the car dealership.
Sure.
Yeah. So
Well, any side effect from the shot is nothing compared to getting COVID.
I don't
I
want
mean, I mean,
COVID.
people talk about they're worried about side effects of one. Please, please, dying and being on a ventilator is a real horrible side effect of having COVID, and
Yeah.
you don't want that.
No.
Having lost someone to COVID, you don't want to get COVID. You
Yeah.
certainly don't, and you don't have to worry about it. I mean, because they, you might get it. I mean, we all could get it because of the variant, but we're not going to go to the hospital and we're not going to die. But you can't say that about people who aren't protected. So, I mean, it's tough. I have a sister who
Yeah.
won't get vaccinated, and it's just very, very annoying. I mean, it's just tough because she says it's my choice, and I go, yeah, but don't you care about getting? What if you get someone sick who actually can't take the shot for some? What if you get a child sick? What if you get? There's that part of the equation. You're not. All you're talking about is your right to decide. I'm like, you didn't feel that way. You're not against the measles vaccine. And you have to have that to go to school. I mean, some people decide I'm not sending my kid to school in that case. But anyway,
Yeah.
enough of that.
No, I got it done. My point was, though, I'm just not around enough people,
Yeah,
but I got it done because I asked.
you were going to a convention.
Well, I actually called Lisa and I said, because I always like to see her when I go down there, and I said, are you up for me coming down there? And she
Mhm.
said, absolutely. It's been a couple years because 2020 was a mess. And so I got it done. I joke. I said I got it done for Toronto, so I hope you'll like it when I show up.
Yeah,
I have fun, and so yeah, I got it done. It's taken care of,
yeah,
you know.
good for
Yeah.
you.
But you mentioned you have a TikTok. What other where can people reach you?
Well, TikTok and Instagram. I do get my messages on Instagram. My TikTok following is so both of my followings are very small. I mean, really small, but I do get my messages on Instagram. Instagram, I'm excuse me, at Pen Peyser.
Mm-hmm.
TikTok, I'm Real Lady Penelope. So that's good. That's a good way to do it because I do respond to messages. I have my Facebook page, my professional Facebook page. I just hardly ever go there, so I don't even tell people to. Think anyone can look me up there if they want, but I'm not so active on it, so I wouldn't see it in a timely manner. Yeah.
Tell me, as Lady Penelope, was you ever a guest on your husband's show as Lady Penelope?
No, I wasn't. Well, first of all, it's radio, so
Yeah,
and
but
I
I can
don't.
hear your voice.
Yeah,
You're very
that's true.
expressive.
I could have recited one of my sonnets. Yes.
You're very
Um,
expressive.
yes, that's true.
Yes.
True. Yeah, no, we didn't do it. So,
Ah.
we didn't do it.
Well, you know what? We are celebrating the 45th. Kind of funny, you're only 39, and this is
It
celebrating
doesn't make
its.
much sense, does it?
Yeah, this is celebrating its 45th anniversary. I would have been 4 years old the year this came out.
Yeah. Well,
Yep. Yep. So
you could be my son. But never, anyway, moving on. Yes. What about the movie?
celebrating its 45th anniversary, and you 39, so I don't know how that works here.
I know. I'm in a
Yeah,
time portal of some kind.
I guess, but it was so wonderful having you come back
Yes,
on
thank
here,
you for having me. Thank you for dealing with my forgetfulness. And anyway, it's always a pleasure to talk to you
Oh,
anytime.
don't mention it. That's happened to me before, where where guests would get mixed up on. I'm just glad there was nothing wrong. You know, I was here and I was wondering where you were, and
Yeah, I know us
yeah,
39-year-olds, we can drop like that. So.
yeah. Well, as for those listening, I was supposed to have Penny on yesterday,
But
but
she forgot, or no, she didn't forget. She thought it was today anyway.
yeah, but you know what? I'm just glad there was nothing wrong. You know, because
Well, there wasn't.
so
Kept in my head.
yeah. So you know, I got you on today, and all is good, and you
Good.
look lovely.
Well, thank you so
You
much.
look
Thank you very
absolutely
much.
lovely. Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely. So, anything else you want to promote on here before we close off?
Oh, I wish I had something. Nope, not at the moment, but if something interesting comes my way, I will let you know.
Yes, you're
How's
always
that?
welcome back.
Thank you.
Actually, it's funny. Last time I had you on, it was December in 2016.
Right, I think we were just on the phone. We weren't
Yeah,
on Zoom. Yeah.
yeah. I was doing, like I said, but the station went into lockdown. I had no way of doing this. I did 30 interviews in 2020,
Mm-hmm.
and when we went into lockdown, I had about 30 people waiting to come on. And I
Wow.
was in a panic, you know, because I had no way of doing this. And it was one of my guests had told me, if she can do Zoom, I can do Zoom. So the beginning of 2021, I got my brother to hook me up with Zoom. I said, I can't go anymore without doing my show. I like doing it, you know.
Yeah.
So and I broke my 2017 record this year.
Oh, wow.
This
Neat.
2017, my record was 128 interviews.
Wow, that's a lot of interviews.
Yep.
Oh,
Well,
great.
I think you're number 135 this year.
Wow. Good for you. That's wonderful. You have a
Yeah.
great catalog.
I love it. This is fun. This is fun. So and when I get this ready, I'll send the link to you, and you can
Okay.
post it wherever you want to.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yes. And your other one is up on YouTube, and it's getting a lot of good hits.
Oh, good. I think well, it was 5 years ago now. So I think I did share it with people
Hmm.
back
Well,
then.
it's got a lot of good hits. So for my
Nice.
for my channel, that's good. You know, I'm
Excellent. Well, for
slowly getting
anybody's
it. Yeah.
channel, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know what? Thank you so much for coming on here today. And before I let you go, would you mind doing a plug for my show?
Of course not. What would you
Yeah.
like me to say?
Just state your name and say you're listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise.
Okay, hang on one second. Let me get my script.
You go get your script.
Okay.
You go Lady Penelope yet?
Yeah, no. Yeah. Okay. All right, here goes.
Go for it.
Hi, I'm Penny Peyser. I'm here talking to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise.
Absolutely. Folks, we are celebrating the 45th anniversary of All the President's Men, and we're doing that with our 39-year-old guest today. Penny, thank you so much for
You're
blessing
very
me with your
welcome. Thank
appearance.
you. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. I'll be in touch, and
Great.
I'd love to have you on again.
Super. I'll be there.
Absolutely. God
Take care,
bless
Greg. Happy
you.
holidays.
Merry Christmas to you.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.